Hello everyone, so again for the sake of copyright, I will be showing gameplay instead of showing clips from the show so I don't have any risk of getting a strike. Please like and subscribe or support me on Patreon, I would love to do this full time if possible. Also, before I get into it, this is a spoiler warning as I will be talking about a lot of different moments in the show. If you don't want to get spoiled, I have a timestamp that just shares my final thoughts and gives my rating of the show if you want to skip to that part listed in the description. So I finished Dr. Stone Science Future Part 2. It was great. This is a continuation of the first Science Future, which I did want to talk about a bit. Again, I love the premise of this anime. I already talked about it in a previous video, so I'm not going to get into it, but the premise is great. The story of Part 1 is pretty good as well. The team that is on board the boat is now on a mission to the Americas. They need the fuel from the corn plants and they need minerals to build a rocket to go to the moon and confront the Y-Man. And Part 1 is all about them confronting Dr. Zeno and his team, then kidnapping Dr. Zeno and bringing him all the way to South America. The story is full of twists and turns, and Zeno and his team are truly a force to be reckoned with. To the point where there's some sort of disbelief when the kids are able to outsmart the adults. Like, bruh, how are kids outmaneuvering the adults? They have guns, for crying out loud. But despite that, the plot is great and the new characters are some great additions to the cast, and make for some great antagonists. When they have captured Zeno and are on their way to South America, man, you can't wait to see what happens next. And this carries on for the most part into Season 2, or Part 2 of Science Future. There is one addition to the cast, which is the geologist girl, and she's kind of annoying, not gonna lie, but still not necessarily a bad character. There's also the clock, or the clock working guy, the guy who is trying to fix the Medusa. He's also an addition. It was also kind of weird that they were able to travel all the way to the heart of South America, like the way they did. Like, them building the bikes was fine. I'm not gonna question it. They had time, whatever, I'm still enjoying it. But like, when they start going through the mountains though, and when they start going through the rainforest, it did feel kind of rushed. Like, they just were coming up with new inventions on the fly, and it felt like they were just getting a bunch of Deus Ex Machinas in a row. Like, when did they have time to construct rubber boots? And how did they know that sending out the decoy would lure Stanley and co. away from Senku and his crew? Like, there was just a bunch of that kind of stuff that just felt out of place and super lucky, just to get them to their final destination. But the plot is able to get around this with their colorful cast and the fact that they're still being chased by Stanley. It makes the plot feel very suspenseful and fast-paced, and it makes you feel like you're being chased alongside them, which helps with the whole Stanley chasing them thing. The plot is still very suspenseful. Spoiler alert, by the way, this is your final warning. When they see that giant pile of Medusas for the first time, I was like, damn, what the fuck is this? And when they decide to self-destruct and petrify everyone, I was shocked. I think the last couple of episodes of the show are my favorite. Suika gets chosen as the last person standing to be revived by the revival fluid after everyone gets petrified. And when she wakes up, she at first tries to find the revival fluid to revive everyone. She goes around collecting everyone's bodies and tries to find revival fluid, but turns out there's no more. And she realizes that she's all alone in this world. And that moment when she realizes it, man, does it hit. You really feel for her and want to see how she gets out of this predicament. Like, when that moment hits, man, does it hit. I almost cried. Almost. Then she finds the revival fluid recipe and begins the long process of making revival fluid. When Senku finally gets revived, you feel so happy for Suika, who is now 7 years older. The moment when she revives him and jumps into his arms, man, pure cinema. However, I will say it is really weird that they decided to revive Dr. Zeno still, for some unknown reason too. Like, okay, I get that they need him to help with building the rocket ship and stuff, but like, why does he decide to help Senku then? Like, just because they said that they would forgive Stanley for what he was doing or something? And he's just like, okay, sure, I'm fine with that. Let's build the rocket. Also, everyone in the world is still petrified again, so we're not going to revive any of them first before building the rocket. I feel like it'd make it a lot easier, but okay, I guess. However, the ending of the season is still pretty satisfying. It makes you want to see them build a rocket and makes you really want to see what happens next. Overall, I think Science Future Part 2 was a fun watch and I had a great time. I would give the season an 8 out of 10.